Tracy's Net, first and third Sunday, 8 p.m., W5FC. Tracy's Net, first and third Sunday, 8 p.m., W5FC.
I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Does anyone need to use a repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. Skynet? Does anyone need to use a repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. This is Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima. My name is Brenda, and I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign, break, and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be me. And stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmissions. This weekly net operates on 146.8 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio video links are available online. Go to W5FC.org right now for the complete list. Remember to tell others about this popular net. All amateur operators are welcome. You need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. This net is 90 minutes long and is structured in several parts. General announcements, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, National Space Society events, discussion topic of the evening, space exploration and space history, what's up, topic or constellation of the week, space launches of the week, recent astronomical discoveries, and visible satellite passages over the next couple of days. Then, if there's time, astronomical Q&A and a 73 round. All amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. So we're going to start now with check-ins, low power and short time first. Please come now with your call sign, name, and where you're transmitting from this evening. Go ahead.
Is November 5, Whiskey Oscar India, William, 10 hour, short time. November 5, Whiskey Oscar India, William, 10 hour.
Okay, heard that right. I think it's November 5, Whiskey Oscar India. That's William. All right, let's proceed with regular check-ins. Please come now.
Golf 5, Papa, Mike, Richardson. November 5, Bravo, Bill, Irving. Kilo 5, Whiskey Tango Hotel, William, Irving. November 5, Bravo, Bill, Irving.
I-39 Walter, Michael in Plano.
Kilo Echo 5, India, Charlie X-Ray, Tom, Louisville.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Juliet Hotel Alpha, Chaz in Mesquite.
Golf 5, Papa Mike, Rich, and Rockwall.
Alpha Papa Lima, Patrick in Dallas. Oh, Foxtrot 5, Zulu Bravo Lima, Bill, Farmers Branch. Alpha Papa Lima, Patrick in Dallas. Oh, Foxtrot 5, Zulu Bravo Lima, Bill, Farmers Branch.
Okay, we've got KG5P Mike, N5BB Bill, K5WTH William, WT9V Michael, KE5ICX Tom, KF5JHA Chaz, AG5PM Rich, and Patrick, I missed your call. I sneezed and didn't hear you. Will you please come back with us?
This is the best of us. Kilo Golf 5, Alpha Papa Lima.
I copy Kilo Golf 5, Alpha Papa Kilo, Patrick. KF5ZBL, Bill. Okay, do we have anybody from Echo Link? Come now. Alpha Papa Kilo, Patrick. KF5ZBL, Bill.
Kilo Golf 5 Bravo Zulu Whiskey J near Weatherford.
Do we have anybody from Echo Link? Come now.
Kilo India 5 Bravo November Papa, Luis in Fort Worth.
Golf 5 Bravo Zulu Whiskey J near Weatherford.
Kilo India 5 Bravo November Papa, Luis in Fort Worth.
Okay. Kilo Golf 5 Bravo Zulu Whiskey J. And Luis, I missed your prefix. Would you please come back with your call?
It is Kilo India 5 Bravo November Papa.
I missed your prefix. Would you please come back with your call? Bravo November Papa. All right. Any other check-ins from any mode? Please come now.
Kilo India 5 Bravo November Papa.
Kilo 5, Alpha Lima, Delta.
Yeah, copy Kilo 5 Alpha Delta Delta, but missed your name. Please come back.
Kilo 5, Golf Lima, Delta. Randy, Rowlett.
Yeah, copy Kilo 5 Alpha Delta Delta, but missed your name. Please. Apologies, Kilo 5 Golf Lima Delta. Randy, welcome to the net. Okay, anybody else?
Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Kilo Uniform, David, Mesquite.
Lima Delta, Randy, welcome to the net. Okay, anybody else?
Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Kilo Uniform.
Okay, David, could you come back with your call, please?
Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Kilo Uniform.
Okay, I got Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Kilo Uniform. Okay, anybody else? Okay, David, could you come back with your call, please?
Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Kilo Uniform.
All right, then. Let's go ahead and get started. This is WB50ZL. Do we have any general announcements for this evening's event? This can be ham, astronomical, space, or of general interest to licensed hams. Please come now. All right, then. Let's go ahead and get started. This is WB50ZL. Do we have any general announcements for this evening's event?
KE5I6.
KE5I6. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Brenda. I just wanted to remind everyone next week is the Winter Field Day. And as soon as I can bring this thing up, if I can do this, wait a minute, let me see. Winter Field Day is less than 7 days away. Sign up for your preferred operating time and be prepared to have some fun. The DARC will be participating in a 3-club special event station, Kilo 5 Tango, on Saturday, July 25th, 2020. Remember that there's no lecture and lab this month due to the Winter Field Day, but please don't forget to pay. Oh, and he says don't forget to pay your dues if they're due. So, if you're a member of the DARC, there's lots of small that's contests and things. Let me give you the thing on the Winter Field Day. WFDA is dedicated to a group of amateur radio operators who believe that emergency communications in the winter environment is just as important as preparations and practice done in the summer, but with the additional unique operational concerns. In other words, it's not 112 degrees outside. So you can sign up at w5fc.org and get involved with that. We'll be at Alfred Media this year. This is where we had the Summer Field Day. You get additional information on that at w5fc.org. We'll have 3 stations. We're going to use land power. So this will be, I think it's next Saturday, in fact. And we will do setup at about 10:30 in the morning, and then we start operations at 1 o'clock. So, and then we will go until 10 p.m. If you want to stay later than that, you can. One of the Mars group has brought out their tactical trailer, so if you want to stay all night and continue to operate, you may do so. Some of us old people are going to just pack it in at 10 o'clock, around between 10 and 11 o'clock, and then head home, because we get tired easily. So more information available at w5fc.org. That's it from me, KE5ICX.
Hey, Tom, I understand that you're leaving early enough to do Skynet as usual. Is this correct?
More information available at w5fc.org. That's it from me, KE5ICX. Oh, yes, I'll be there for Skynet. I'll be here, I'll be somewhere for Skynet. Yes, it'll all happen just like it always does. Or doesn't. KE5I6.
All right, I will also be wherever Skynet is, whether it's remote or here at my house. So anyway, don't despair. Skynet's going to happen anyway, rain or shine. All right, let's see what we have next. Whether it's remote or here at my house. Oh, we're going to talk about tonight's Afterglow information. We have another net at 10:30. This is a movie review net. This is very intellectual. We pick some fine film. We watch it during the week, and then we discuss it at 10:30, right after Skynet. I'm going to call on KE5ICX, Tom, to give us the synopsis. Please go ahead.
Well, thank you, Brenda, and geez, it's only been like 10 seconds since I was last night. This is really great for me. Okay, everybody listen carefully, because this is considered one of the most accurate reviews, comments, summaries of any Afterglow movie. Reporter Lee Taylor scribbled more notes in his reporter's notebook. Hastily, he wrote, "Another pathological killer's victim found. Killings always during a full moon. Bodies are dismembered. Monster guy always at the scene of the crime. This is full moon lunacy. But Taylor had a new clue. One the police weren't aware of quite yet. At the latest crime scene was a scalpel, obviously used during the crime. On the scalpel's exterior was an inscription. Property of the Xavier Medical Academy. Drop in any mailbox, return postage guarantee. Taylor immediately summoned a cab for a trip to the Xavier Medical Academy. Join us for one of the weirder movies ever made. In West, Dr. X from, are you ready for this? 1932. Color in 1932. I'm not lying. I would never do that. Tonight at 10:30 p.m. Back to net control. This is KE5ICX.
Yeah, it's in color, but not all colors. I think it's in two colors. I mean, let's face it, black and white are colors also. So, okay, you can keep up with all DARC events, nets, and activities by going to the club website, w5sc.org. Do we have any additional check-ins?
Oh, 5. Juliet, Delta Whiskey, John and Coppell.
Okay, we got K5JDW John. Welcome to the net. Next up, Texas Astronomical Society in Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope. Is there anybody here that can give us that information?
Yeah, 5JHA.
KF5JHA. Go ahead, Chaz.
Brenda, good evening, everyone. Just want to let you know that the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas has meetings on the 4th Friday of each month. That will be this coming Friday. And this coming Friday, the meeting will have a special guest lecturer. Let's see now. His name is Rob Pettingill. And he's engineer, an astrophotographer, a sidewalk astronomer, a volunteer astronomy educator from the Austin area. He's talking about all sorts of different observing things and the couple of different locations of large telescopes, primarily in other countries, something like ALMA, if you've heard of that. If not, I think we've talked about that on here, in Aurora, and he's talking about several trips that he's made to look and investigate some of these telescopes. So, the meeting starts at 7:30 p.m., but usually at 7 o'clock we have a beginner's talk or our dark sky overview, and this month it'll be the regular beginner's talk. So come at 7 o'clock and get some information, then at 7:30 we'll have our spatial featured speaker. After that, we'll have a business meeting and then Constellation of the Month. My friend Dennis Harwell and myself are the ones that present the Constellation of the Month. Okay, now, the Texas Astronomical Society also has observing sessions on almost every Saturday night. On the first on the first Saturday of each month, it's the Stargazer Star Party at Spring Park in Garland. The next one for that is February the 1st. Frisco Starfest is on the second Saturday at the Frisco Commons Park in Frisco. That happens on February the 8th. That's the next one for that. Cedar Hill Starbolt at J.W. Williams Park at Cedar Hill. That event's happening right now, January the 18th. Is there anyone at that star party that would like to give us a report about what's going on this evening? Come now with your call sign if you have a report. That event's happening right now, January the 18th. Is there anyone at that star party that would like to give us a report about what's going on this evening? Oh, I was afraid of that. I'm going to have to start doing a roving astronomer and go to these things and report back to Skynet. The fourth Saturday of each month is the Stars on the Rock at the Shores Park in Rockwall. There may be a new location coming soon. We'll find out. That would be on Saturday, January the 25th. That'll be next week. Okay, that gives you some information about the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas. Is there anybody that has any questions or needs any fills on the information from the Texas Astronomical Society? Please come now with your call sign. Okay, I guess that's it. So it's back to Nectrol. Brenda, it's all yours. This is KF5 JHA.
Thank you, Chaz. Next is the National Space Society of North Texas. N5BB, do you have a report on that?
Brenda, yes, this is N5BB. Just a moment.
Space Society of North Texas. N5BB, do you have a report on that?
Thought I was going to see. Sorry about that. The National Space Society of North Texas just held its February meeting this past Sunday. The February meeting is going to be on Sunday, February the 9th, second Sunday of the month, and that meeting will be at a normal meeting location, which is Spring Creek Barbecue in Irving on the southwest corner of Highway 183 of Beltline. The meeting starts at 3:30. As far as coming up activities, in nearly 2 weeks, Anusha Adari, I have a hard time pronouncing her name, who was one of the kind of space tourist astronauts to the International Space Station. She will be speaking in Louisville at the Medical City Louisville Grand Theater. So this will be on Thursday, January the 30th. It'll be at 6 to 8 p.m. And you can get tickets online. I've got the link if anybody's interested. It's at the Medical City That's Medical City Louisville Grand Theater in Louisville on Thursday, January the 30th. The National Space Society will have tables there with literature, etc. On Saturday, February the 1st, from 11 until 1, National Space Society will be participating in the International Day at the Eduardo Mata Montessori School, which is located near White Rock Lake in Dallas. That's from 11 to 1 on February the 1st. We might have a satellite communications display there with Tom Scheffler also. In other words, we might be communicating via satellite. That hasn't been settled yet. Those are the things which are coming up here in the next couple of weeks at the National Space Society. There's a lot of launches occurring, and I'm just not going to go into all these right now, but there's test launches for the SpaceX. They were going to have a test today, but I believe it was moved tomorrow to test their eject system. This is the safety system that will eject the Dragon capsule from the rocket if something goes wrong. It was delayed due to weather, I believe. And there's lots more tests of Boeing's cruise system and other things coming up in the next few months. this will be a very exciting year for the spacecraft, spaceflight, as in particular Boeing and SpaceX plan to have capsules and rockets that will deliver cargo and astronauts to the International Space Station here within the next few months. Saga, Habibi.
Thank you very much, Bill. Okay, do we have any other check-ins since WB50ZL? All right, then we'll go on into our featured presentation and get a message here to try Echolink. Okay, anybody else on Echolink? Okay, none heard. So we're going to go, hold on, stand by. Okay, our feature this week is entitled Beam Rider. New self-centering laser sail could enable interstellar travel. I'm ready for that. Spacecraft could fly to distant stars using sails with surfaces similar to those of CDs and DVDs to help them stay centered on laser beams, a new study finds. Conventional rockets driven by chemical reactions are currently the dominant form of space propulsion. However, they are nowhere near efficient enough to reach another star within a human lifetime. For example, although Alpha Centauri is the nearest star system to Earth, it still lies about 4.37 light years away, equal to more than 25.6 trillion miles, or more than 276,000 times the distance from Earth to the Sun. It would take NASA's Voyager 1 spacecraft, which launched in 1977 and reached interstellar space in 2012, about 75 years to reach Alpha Centauri if the probe were headed in the right direction, which it's not. The problem with all thrusters that current spacecraft use for propulsion is that the propellant they carry with them has mass. Long trips require a lot of propellant, which makes spacecraft heavy, which in turn requires more propellant, making them heavier, and so on. That problem gets exponentially worse the bigger a spacecraft gets. Previous research has suggested that light sailing might be one of the only technically feasible ways to get a probe to another star within a human lifetime. Although light does not exert much pressure, scientists have long suggested that what little it does apply could have a major effect. Indeed, numerous experiments have shown that solar cells can rely on sunlight for propulsion, given a large enough mirror and a lightweight enough spacecraft. The $100 million Through Starshots initiative, which was announced in 2016, plans to launch swarms of microchip-sized spacecraft to Alpha Centauri, each of them sporting extraordinarily thin, incredibly reflective sails propelled by the most powerful lasers ever built. The plan has them flying at up to 20% the speed of light, reaching Alpha Centauri in about 20 years. One concern with using laser sails is that if they drift out of alignment with the propelling laser beams, which will be based here on Earth, at least initially, in breakthrough Starshot plans, they may veer wildly off course from their targets. Now, scientists have designed and tested a new sail that could, in principle, automatically keep itself centered on a laser beam for the required few minutes, allowing the spacecraft to stay on course for interplanetary or even interstellar journeys. The new sail relies on structures known as diffraction gratings, the most familiar versions of which are seen in CDs and DVDs. A diffraction grating is a surface covered with a series of regularly spaced microscopic ridges or slits that can scatter or diffract light, making different wavelengths or colors of light travel in different directions. A recording on a CD or DVD is encoded in the form of microscopic pits of different lengths that are placed in rows of the same width and equal distances, and laser beams can scan these discs to read their data. These rows form a diffraction grating on the mirror surfaces of CDs and DVDs that can split white light into many colors that make it up, resulting in the rainbow patterns that one can see on these discs. If you've ever examined the beautiful play of light from a compact disc, you will have seen the effects of diffraction. Study senior author Grover Schwartzlander, an optical physicist at the Rochester Institute of Technology in New York, told Space.com. Researchers built a sail consisting of two diffractive gratings placed side by side. Each grating was made of aligned liquid crystals that were contained in a plastic sheet. Similar liquid crystals are often used in the electronic displays of video screens and digital watches. Previous light sail designs act like mirrors that reflect beams of light at their sources. In the new design, the liquid crystals in each diffraction grating deflect the light rays at an angle, generating forces that send the sail both backward and sideways. The grating on the left side of the sail deflects light to the right of the laser beam, whereas the grating on the right side deflects light to the left. If the sail drifts, so the laser beam they fall on either side of the sail, that pushes the sail back into position with the light falling on the center of the sail. In tests of their experimental sail, the scientists had to detect the microscopic forces the sail generated in response to a laser while distinguishing those forces from disturbances such as building vibrations or air currents. We were frustrated to find that our measurements were not reliable if the floor sagged from the weight of a small person, Schwartzlander said. Eventually, we found adequate locations and methods of avoiding disturbances. The researchers successfully detected the sail-generating recentering forces that pushed it back into alignment with the laser beam. It was very satisfying to find that the experimental results with our theoretical predictions, Schwartzlander said. This agreement suggests that we can confidently design more complex diffractive structures for light sails driven by either sunlight or a laser beam. The researchers are now experimenting with sails capable of centering themselves if they drift in any direction, not just left or right. Interestingly, these may have optical properties very similar to the diffractive nature of compact discs, Schwartzlander said. In the future, researchers suggested their sails could be tested on the International Space Station or on a small satellite around Earth. They detailed their findings online December 13th in the journal Physical Review Letters. All right, this is WB5OZL. Do we have any more check-ins? Please come out.
This is November 5, Yankee Echo Oscar, Stephen, San Antonio. This is November 5, Yankee Echo Oscar, Stephen, San Antonio.
Okay, it sounded like November 5, Yankee Echo Oscar, David in San Antonio. Is that correct?
I believe so. It's Steven in San Antonio. Steven, Steven, San Antonio.
Short, so okay, a little bit short this week. So, January 13th, 1978, NASA selects the first women astronauts. If you're looking online, there's a picture of these 6 women who were selected to be astronaut trainees. All 6 would eventually fly on some mission, as Sally Ride was the first American woman to fly in space. Of course, this was 20 years after Russian Valentina Tereshkova's flight. January 15th, 2006, it's the Earth return of samples from stardust. The picture that we have here is visible dust grains in the aerogel collector. Stardust was a 390-kilogram robotic space probe launched by NASA on February 7th, 1999. Its primary mission was to collect dust samples from the coma of Comet Wild 2, as well as samples of cosmic dust, and return these to Earth for analysis. It was the first sample return mission of its kind. In 2009, it was announced by NASA that scientists had identified one of the fundamental chemical building blocks of life in a comet for the first time. Glycine, an amino acid, was detected in a material ejected from Comet Wild 2 in 2004 and grabbed by the Stardust probe. Glycine has been detected in meteorites before, and there are also observations in interstellar gas clouds, but the Stardust find is described as the first in cometary material. Isotope analysis indicates that the late heavy bombardment included cometary impacts after the Earth coalesced, but before life evolved. Carl Pelcher, who leads NASA's Astrobiology Institute, commented that the discovery of glycine in a comet supports the idea that the fundamental building blocks of life are prevalent in space and strengthens the argument that life in the universe may be common rather than rare. Then we have, on January 19th in 2006, an Atlas V launched New Horizons at Cape Canaveral. There's a photo here of a launch. Back in August 1992, JPL scientist Robert Staley called Pluto discoverer Clyde Tombaugh requesting permission to visit his planet. I told him he was welcome to it, Tombaugh later remembered, though he's got to go one long, cold trip. The call eventually led to a series of proposed Pluto missions leading up to New Horizons. Tombaugh passed away in 1999, a few years before Pluto was demoted from planet status. I'm glad he didn't see that. The New Horizons has given us some of the most popular astronomical photos in recent years. That iconic close-up of Pluto that we all love so much. Its mission has been extended to 2021 in order to further study the Kuiper Belt. All right, this is WV5OZL. Do we have any more check-ins? Please come now.
G5P recheck.
KG5P, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I think you had Steven, K5 White EO checking in on Echolink from San Antonio.
Even from your mobile phone. No technical skills required.
I got David in 5YEO from San Antonio. Is that the same person?
Start for free at GoDaddy.
Yeah, it must have been David. I didn't think that you'd heard him because you doubled with him at the end of his transmission. KG5P.
Oh, I understand his name is Stephen. Okay, well, we want to get that right. Thank you very much. All right, moving on. Our next segment is What's Up? Chaz, KF5JHA. Go ahead. Okay, well, we want to get that right. Thank you very much. All right, moving on.
Evening, everyone. Thank you, Brenda. WB50ZL, our net control. This is Chaz, KF5JHA. My degree is in astrophysics, and I work at Brookhaven Community College. We call this segment of Skynet What's Up. Remember that Skynet's not only available on the Dallas repeater of 146.88 megahertz with a private line tone of 110.9, but also available to hams across the world via Echolink, like Steven. And most weeks, Skynet also has a video component, too. Oh, no, you're showing pictures on the video of some strange guy. You can find those video links at w5fc.org website. So, with radio, Echolink, and video, I say that Skynet is in 3D. But our friend Tony in T5TM says we are in 4D because we use the dimension of time. By the way, what's going on in the chat window of Echolink, something about counting on JJ, might have nothing to do with what's being done on the video or what's being talked about on the radio. So to get the full 3D, or rather 4D version of Skynet, you must be monitoring all three areas at the same time. What's being done on the video or what's being talked about on the radio. So to get the full 3D, or rather 4D version... Let's get to the sky. This week, the sun is setting a little bit later than just a couple weeks ago. It sets around 5:45 p.m., and Venus is easily seen in the southwestern evening sky shortly after sunset. Venus, of course, is the brightest regular object in the sky other than the sun or the moon. Venus goes through phases just like our moon, and for the same reasons. The current phase of Venus is a gibbous, waning gibbous. It's about 78% sunlit. Venus will be getting less illuminated and is getting closer to the Earth and brighter over the next few months. Venus should also be bright enough for us to see during the daytime sky right now. Our eyes need a reference point to identify the small but bright dot of Venus in the daytime sky. Try looking for Venus around 5 p.m. on the evening of January 27th, when Venus will be about 7 degrees up the thin crescent moon. On January 28th, Venus will be about 8 degrees to the right of the crescent moon. Venus will continue to get brighter until the end of April, when it will be about 3/4 of magnitude brighter than it is right now. So keep trying to find Venus during the day for the next couple of months. Venus will continue to get brighter until the end of April, when it will be about 3/4 of magnitude brighter than it is right now. Mars is visible in the early morning southeastern sky, just to the left of Antares, the brightest star in Scorpius. By the way, Antares means rival of Mars, so Mars and the rival of Mars are side by side in the early morning sky. And on Monday morning, on MLK Day, January 20th, get up around 6:30 a.m. I know it's a holiday for some of you, but get up at 6:30 a.m., bundle up since it's predicted to be about 35 degrees that morning, and enjoy the moon just above the pair of Mars and Antares. Then, go back to bed, warm up, and get some more sleep. At 6:30 a.m., bundle up since it's predicted to be about 35 degrees that morning, and enjoy the moon. You might even catch a glimpse of Jupiter just to the lower left of the moon on the morning of January 22nd at around 6:45 a.m. On next Saturday evening, January 25th, this is just before Skynet, about 3 hours before, around 6:15 p.m., you can spot the thin crescent moon low in the southwestern sky. The planet Mercury will be just to the right of the moon on that evening. Saturn is still too close to the sun to be seen right now. You can spot the thin And I am KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. Last week, we visited the evening sky and the winter circle of stars. Now, let me direct your attention to the morning winter sky at around 6:30 in the morning. Looking at the eastern morning sky, you can see Vega, about 1/3 of the way up, Deneb, about 15 degrees above the northeastern horizon, and Altair rising at about 5 degrees above the east. It was just last week that I talked about seeing the summer triangle, those three stars, low in the southwestern sky just after sunset. The fact of the matter is that we should be able to see Vega and Deneb sometime during any night all year long. Leslie Peltier took advantage of this fact and always used Vega as the first object that he looked at through a new telescope. Who is Leslie Peltier? You ask, well, he's a farmer and also a very well-known amateur astronomer that did thousands of observations of variable stars. In fact, he submitted to the AAVSO over 132,000 observations. The AAVSO is the American Association of Variable Star Observers. Our friend Silent Key Carolyn, KC5OZT, probably revered him since she was also a variable star observer. Leslie Peltier wrote the book Starlight Nights, which is a must-read for anyone listening to Skynet right now. He also discovered or co-discovered over a dozen comets, 10 of which bear his name at least in part. Continuing with the morning sky, the star just south of overhead is Arcturus in the constellation of Boötes, and just north of overhead is the famous asterism, the Big Dipper. Remember, we're looking in the early morning sky. And the asterism is not a constellation, but a group of stars that form some sort of recognizable pattern. So the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper are asterisms. The summer triangle and the winter circle are also examples of asterisms.
No technical skills required. Build your own website and get your idea online.
The moon was at its third quarter just yesterday, January 17th. The current moon phase is a waning crescent. The moon will be new on January the 24th, just a day before Skynet next week, and it will be at its first quarter phase on February the 1st. Now that reminds me, why did the cow jump over the moon? Because the farmer had cold hands. It must have been winter time. Again, don't forget about the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas has telescopes set up somewhere in the Metroplex almost every Saturday night. And I forgot to mention their website before, texasastro.org. You can find details about that and also about their meeting times as well. Is there a ham radio operator out there anywhere observing the nighttime sky that would like to give us a report? If so, come down with your call sign right now. Oh, I guess no one's out there looking at the real nighttime sky. In a couple of months, we're going to have something called a Messier Marathon, and that will be exciting. I hope to be reporting from something called Comanche Springs or 3RF campus, because I want to be there for the Messier Marathon out in the dark skies. So, do any of you out there in Radio Land have any questions or need a fill on any information I've given you? Or maybe you have a general astronomy question. I don't know everything, but I may know the answer to your question. Or I can find it out and report back to you next week. Come now with your call sign if you have a question.
AG5B.
Mr. Wizard of Questions, Mike, please come now.
Okay, I have a question. And I figure you're the right one to answer it, being how you have the credentials. Okay, here's the question. Photon walks into this bar and he orders a drink. Like a double. Bartender asks, would you like a double? What does the photon reply?
In under an hour, even from your mobile phone. No technical skills required. Build your own website and
It's got to have something to do about light. Go ahead. Let me know. Let us all know, Mike.
Well, you're right. The photon says, no thanks. I am traveling light today.
So much, Mike. I'd forgotten the punchline, but now I remember it. So, as the moon wanes during the last half of January, so do these words. Until next time, keep looking up so you know what's up. This is Chaz, KF5JHA, back to our net control. Brenda, WB5OZL. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chaz. This is WB5OZL. Do we have any more check-ins at this time?
The debrief check is a really quick additional news item.
M5BB, go ahead.
Thank you. I forgot to mention, astronaut Scott Kelly will be at the Winsphere Opera House in downtown Dallas this coming Thursday, January 23rd at 7:30 p.m. So, astronaut Scott Kelly, Winsphere Opera House in downtown Dallas this coming Thursday, January 23rd at 7:30 p.m. BB.
Very good, thank you. All right, next up is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Month and Topic of the Week. Mike, KG5P, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. This is KG5P. All right, tonight's Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Month is Canis Major. Canis Major, the big dog. Okay, I usually get into some history on this. This is what I find interesting to me, and this is from the book Volume 3 of Annals of the Deep Sky with Jeff Canipe and Dennis Webb. It's got a fairly good chapter on Canis Major. The thing I like to do is sort of put these in context because, you know, the average person looks up in the sky and they see something up there and, yeah, okay, I'll go back and I'm going to go back and watch TV and put on the Wheel of Fortune or something like that. So you really, to appreciate this stuff, you really need some of the history and also some of the lore around it. Okay, so Canis Major is up this time of year. In fact, I remember when I was in Denver, this is in Denver, looking over, I live kind of west of Denver, and this would be looking over the south. You'd freeze your tail off, but man, it was pretty out there. You could see Orion and Canis Major and the star Sirius very easily. So you can see it this time of year. In fact, I saw it last week. I was out with a non-astronomer, and he was wanting to point out Betelgeuse because he'd heard that it was growing dim or something like that. And
With
I think
GoDaddy,
he saw
you can build your
what he
own
was looking at
professional
was actually
website in under an hour, even from
Sirius.
your mobile phone. No technical skills required.
I'm making these serious jokes tonight. I'll leave those up for Chaz because all
Build
the
your own
serious
website and get
jokes
your
are-
idea online.
Anyway,
Start for free
getting
at
back to the Canis
GoDaddy.com.
Major, the greater dog, it's more of a southern constellation than it is from northern. And you can see it from latitudes of about 40 degrees north. It's not even halfway up to the sky. In fact, at 33 degrees south, which is South America, Australia, that area, it's almost overhead. And of course, Sirius outshines the constellation's other reasonably bright stars, making them all look dim by comparison. Canis Major cannot be said to have a rich mythology, although it does have a subject to many interpretations, largely because, well, there's some celestial mythology about it, but it does have a lot of cultural interpretations that originated in the works from ancient Greece or Rome. And these were lost and then retold or reinterpreted by later historians. Typically, Canis Major is considered to represent Orion's canine companion as he sort of is sniffing around at Orion's feet. But much of the story takes place before the dog was set among the stars. In classical times, the figure was referred to simply as Canis, a dog given by an adoring Zeus to the beautiful Europa, along with the spear that never missed. And there's a whole story about that spear, too.
With GoDaddy, you can build your own professional website in under an hour.
His name was
Even from your mobile
Laylabs,
phone. No technical
L-A-L-A-P-S,
skills required.
spelled Lilabs with an I. Was
Build
passed
your
down
own
from
website and get your idea
Europa's son
online.
Minos, the king of Crete, I should say, who
Start
in
for
turn
free at
gave it along with the
GoDaddy.com.
magical spear, this spear we just talked about, to Procris, the princess of Athens, who cured him of some kind of illness. Procris was fond of hunting, and the dog was so swift that it never failed to catch its prey. And not to mention the other characters involved varies from version to version, but in short, Procris' husband, Cephalus, decides to bring the dog that always catches its prey to Thebes to hunt down the famed Messian fox, whatever that is, a gigantic vixen.
With GoDaddy,
is
you
terrorizing
can
the
build your own
countryside.
professional website in under an
Said to
hour.
be uncatchable.
Even from your mobile phone. No technical
Again,
skills required.
During the ensuing chase,
Build your own website and
Laylaps
get your idea online.
comes close to seizing its prey in its jaws, but the fleet-footed fox
Start for free at GoDaddy.com.
always manages to evade its pursuer. At that point, Zeus, wanting to resolve the perpetual dilemma of the uncatchable fox and the ever-pursuing hound, turns the fox into stone and places the fox, or the dog, I should say, Laylaps among the stars, judging his tenacity worthy of the author. Turns the fox into stone. Going on, Canis Major's main naked eye jewel is Sirius, the dog star. And we'll talk about Sirius in a little bit. Of other celestial treasures worth observing, most are open clusters, including M41. And the picture I sent to Tom was taken with about an 8-inch telescope. And again, it's not really impressive unless you know a little bit about it, in which case you'd probably really appreciate it. If you didn't know anything about astronomy, you'd say, so what? The other one is NGC 2362, and these are both visible with binoculars. In fact, M41 is also visible with the naked eye. The other one now has M41 up, kind of a loose open cluster. You've all heard of the summer triangle. Well, there's a winter triangle as well, and the vertices are anchored by Betelgeuse, Procyon, and Sirius. You've all heard of the summer triangle and the Sirius, and this is an interesting star, Sirius. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on that. Sirius gets its name from the Greek word Sirios, that's spelled in Greek, meaning the scorching one or the brilliant one. Okay, its visual magnitude is minus 1.46, and it's bright not only due to its proximity, because it's only 8.6 light years away, but it's also because it's intrinsically bright, about 25 times as luminous as the sun. Okay, its other physical characteristics attest to its luminous nature. It's a hot A1 class star with with a surface temperature of about 9,800 degrees Kelvin and a mass twice that of the sun, a radius about 1.73 solar times the sun. The age is the order of 237 million years. Okay, now we've also got an HR diagram, and you can see that Sirius is a main sequence star. It's to the left. It's about well, according to this, it's about 100 times as luminous as the sun, but it's really only about 25 times. Well, I guess on this logarithmic scale.
With GoDaddy,
It's
you
considered
can
a
build your
giant.
own professional
It is a
website
main
in under
sequence
an
star,
hour,
and
even
it's a
from your
class
mobile
A,
phone.
which is
No technical skills required.
almost 9,000
Build your own
degrees.
website and get your idea
compared to the
online.
sun, which is a class G star, which is around 6,000 degrees.
Start for free at GoDaddy.com.
Also exhibits deep metallic absorption in its spectrum lines, and as such is classified as a type A little m star with about twice as much of the sun's iron content. And it has a companion, Sirius B, also has an enhanced metal abundance. It had once evolved through the red giant stage and is now a dwarf star. Now Sirius has a high proper motion. It's more than 1.2 arc seconds per year in declination, something that's not unusual for a star so near the sun. But we'll show here in a minute that the motion played an important role in the discovery of its companion, Sirius B. Okay, Injar Hertzsprung of the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram proposed in 1909 that Sirius was a member of the Ursa Major group, but actually they think that it's sort of independent, not even a member of the Sirius supercluster. But again, it's very prominent, and it figures in the cultural histories of people around the world since ancient times. The Egyptians, for example, venerated Sirius because of its pre-dawn rising that preceded the flooding of the Nile. American Plains Indians and American Southwest began to make preparations to leave the mountains before the start of winter when Sirius rose. Interesting thing about the Greeks, they associated pre-dawn appearance with the parched days of midsummer that include things like plague, pestilence, general suffering, and usual brouhaha, droughts. You've heard of the dog days of summer. Well, one explanation is the star's light was thought to adversely affect the behavior of dogs, making them ill or torpid.
With GoDaddy, you can build your own professional website in under an hour,
Iliad,
even from your mobile phone. No
is
technical
compared to
skills
Sirius
required.
as he comes into some king's view in
Build
the
your
plain
own
of Troy,
website and get your idea online.
and so he's in the Greek tragedies.
Start for free at GoDaddy.com.
Edmund Halley, years later, thought it was somewhat unremarkable, but he compared the positions of the bright stars along with those recorded in Ptolemy's Almagest and the catalogs of Hipparchus, and he noticed that two other stars, Aldebaran and Arcturus, had shifted significantly to the south, about half a degree in the case of Sirius, in 1800 years. And Halley rightly conjectured that because these stars were the most conspicuous in the sky, that they were also likely to be to the nearest of Earth. And if they had any significant motions of their own, they would be more noticeable over periods less than 20,000 or 2,000 years, and he was right about that. The German astronomer Friedrich Bessel, who is famous for the Bessel function, which I haven't seen since I was a student, but it's good for all sorts of things like measuring wavefronts and stuff like that. Was able to measure these irregularities in Sirius's tracks against the background stars and deduced that a massive unseen companion was gravitationally tugging on it. And so that its southwestward trajectory resembled a sine wave with very slight peaks and troughs. Now, Alvin G. Clark, in 1862, he was the famous telescope maker, built the largest refractor ever made, the 40-inch refractor. He discovered an 8.5 magnitude companion while testing his refractor, and that's still there at the University of
With GoDaddy, you can build your own professional website in under an hour,
Dearborn.
even from your mobile phone.
Dearborn
No technical
University,
skills required.
Illinois. Yeah, that's where it is.
Build your own website and get your idea
He
online.
showed that the Sirius B has extremely
Start
low
for free.
luminosity. It
GoDaddy.com.
was quite small, smaller than the Earth, in fact. It was apparently massive enough to introduce irregular motions into Sirius A. To introduce this amount of gravitational sway, the star must be enormously dense, about 10,000 grams per cubic centimeter, and that's dense. Another surprise came to light in 1915 when another scientist, Walter Adams, on Mount Wilson, was as hot, if not hotter than Sirius A. And it turns out that this was later called a dwarf star. This term was coined in 1922. And Eddington, another astronomer, showed that there's nothing inherently absurd about these high densities, explaining that the hot interiors of these stars, electrons would be stripped away from the nuclei, allowing them to pack themselves into extremely dense condition called electron degeneracy. In fact, this is good. It could be the fate of our sun. Will become a dwarf star and will become its density will be limited by electron degeneracy. Larger stars would end up as neutron stars or black holes, but for the star the size of the sun, it's only going to make it to be a dwarf star. We talked briefly about M41 and then also NGC 2362 is the massive open cluster centered on a supergiant, which is a very nice, compact, moderately rich cluster, about 5 arc minutes wide, which is about 10 times the size of the full moon. So with that, I shall wrap it up here. This has been Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week, or the month, whichever you prefer. Miss Carolyn, as in case you don't know, was a regular on this net, and she used to do the Constellation of the Week every week. In fact, I read, I think today on Facebook, that it was her birthday. She would have been about, 67 or so, I guess. But she's no longer with us. But in Miss Carolyn's words,
With GoDaddy,
take a look
you can
around.
build
You
your own
will enjoy
professional
it.
website in under an
KG5
hour,
feedback to it,
even
and
from
this
your
is
mobile
Skynet.
phone. No technical skills required. Build your own website and get your idea online.
Thanks, Mike. Next, space launches this week.
GoDaddy.com.
Turn it over to Tom, KE5ICX, for information. Thanks, Mike. Next, space launches this week.
All right, thank you. Let's see here. What do we have? And it was Miss Carolyn's birthday today, and we all miss her very much. Let's see. I get the information from Spaceflight Now launch schedule and Space Coast launches. January 21st, Falcon 9 Starlink 3. This is those massive constellation of 50 satellites, 60 satellites go into orbit that may be messing up all sorts of astronomical observations, because these things have a tendency to reflect back. There's going to be a bunch of them in space. There's currently 120. We're going for another 60 with this Starlink 3 thing. It is planned to launch January 21st from Space Launch Complex 40. That's Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. That's right across from the launch complex for manned spaceflight when we get back into doing that. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket is expected to launch the fourth batch of approximately 60 satellites for SpaceX Starlink Broadband Network. A mission designated Starlink 3 is delayed from January 20th.
Great workout. We have some contenders today.
Show me what you got.
In January also, we have the Soyuz Meridian M that's launched from Cosmodrome in Russia. A Russian government Soyuz rocket with a Sagat upper stage will launch a Meridian M communication satellite for the Russian Ministry of Defense. It sounds very military. The Soyuz rocket will fly in a Soyuz 2.1A configuration. On December 30th, there will be the SSLV demonstration launch. This will be from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in India. India's small satellite launch vehicle, SSLV, will launch on its first orbital test flight consisting of 3 solid-fueled stages and a liquid-fueled upper stage. The SSLV is a new Indian launch vehicle designed to carry small satellites into low Earth orbit. This is delayed from September and December, so I keep having issues with it, but eventually they'll launch. On December 26th, there'll be an IGS Optical 7 launch. This comes from Japan at the Tanegashima Space Center in Japan. A Japanese H-2A, that's one of their major not heavy lift, but reliable rocket stages, will launch an information gathering satellite. That sounds ominous, with an optical reconnaissance payload for the Japanese government. Sounds like another one of those quiet things. Have GSAT-1. This is to be determined. This will launch on a GSLV Mark II from the Indian Launch Center, Satish Dhawan Space Center. Let's see here. It's a GEO imaging satellite. It will provide continuous remote sensing observations over the Indian subcontinent from geostationary orbit more than 22,000 miles above Earth. This one was delayed from January 15th. Then also we have the Falcon 9 Starlink 4, yay, SLC-40, Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. The SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket is expected to launch the 5th batch of approximately 60 satellites for SpaceX Starlink Broadband Network. This is a satellite network that will bring internet to every inch of the Earth, and it's designated as Starlink 4. All right, that's it from here. I do believe, and I'm going from memory on this, there will be a Falcon 9 launch of the Dragon spacecraft with a launch to test the launch escape system that's built for manned flights on the Falcon 9 and on the Dragon. I believe it has been delayed. It was supposed to launch, I think, today. It will launch tomorrow, or that's the hope. I could be wrong on that. Again, I'm going by memory, but it will be in the next, I think, 24, 48 hours. So that should be very interesting. They're going to actually sabotage a Falcon 9 booster and this thing is going to say, well, I guess we got to get the astronauts out of here, so that's the mission. I haven't seen this since, I think it was the Mercury program where they launched and had a problem accidentally. The booster actually did a blow up, and then the launch escape system actually worked quite well on the Mercury Redstone. I think it was a Redstone that they were doing this with, and it had a bad thing happen. So this should be actually very interesting to see what happens. I'm more interested to see what happens with the Falcon and where it goes and how they do all of that. In any case, lots of things coming up, as Bill mentioned. Plenty of satellite launches all over the world, which is kind of fun when you think about it. All these things flying from various space centers all around the world. Back to you, Ms. Brenda, KE5ICX.
Build your own website and get your idea on.
Thank you, Tom. This is WB5OZL. Do we have any more check-ins?
Start for free at GoDaddy.com.
Thank you, Tom. This is WB5OZL. Do we have any more check-ins? All right. Next up is recent astronomical discoveries. I'm going to read the article that got carried over from last week since we ran out of time. This is entitled, Astronomers Find Wandering Massive Black Holes in Dwarf Galaxies. Astronomers seeking to learn about the mechanisms that formed massive black holes in the early history of the universe have gained important new clues with the discovery of 13 such black holes in dwarf galaxies less than 1 billion light years from Earth. These dwarf galaxies, more than 100 times less massive than our own Milky Way, were among the smallest galaxies known to host massive black holes. The scientists expect that the black holes in these smaller galaxies average about 400,000 times the mass of our Sun. We hope that studying them and their galaxies will give us insights into how similar black holes in the early universe formed and then grew through galactic mergers over billions of years, producing the supermassive black holes we see in larger galaxies today, with masses of many millions or billions of times that of the Sun, said Amy Rines of Montana State University. Rines and her colleagues used the National Space Foundation's Carl G. Jansky Very Large Array, that's VLA, to make the discovery, which they are reporting at the American Astronomical Society's meeting in Honolulu, Hawaii. Rines and her collaborators used the VLA to discover the first massive black hole in a dwarf starburst galaxy in 2011. That discovery was a surprise to astronomers and spurred a radio search for more. The scientists started by selecting a sample of galaxies from the NASA Sloan Atlas, a catalog of galaxies made with visible light telescopes. They chose galaxies with stars totaling less than 3 billion times the mass of the Sun, about equal to the Large Magellanic Cloud, a small companion of the Milky Way. From the sample, they picked candidates that also appeared in the National Radio Astronomy Observatory's faint images of the radio sky at 20 centimeters survey made between 1993 and 2011. They then used the VLA to make new and more sensitive high-resolution images of 111 of the selected galaxies. The new VLA observations reveal that 13 of these galaxies have a strong presence for a massive black hole that is actively consuming surrounding material. We were very surprised to find that in roughly half of these 13 galaxies, the black hole is not at the center of the galaxy, unlike the case in larger galaxies, Rines said. Scientists said this indicates that the galaxies likely have merged with others earlier in their history. This is consistent with computer simulations predicting that roughly half of the massive black holes and dwarf galaxies will be found wandering in the outskirts of their galaxies. This work has taught us that we must broaden our searches for massive black holes and dwarf galaxies beyond their centers to get a more complete understanding of the population and learn what mechanisms helped to form the first massive black hole in the early universe, Rhines said. Rhines worked with James Condon of the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, Jeremy Darling of the University of Colorado Boulder, and Jenny Green of Princeton University. The astronomers are publishing their results in the Astrophysical Journal. That is all I've got. Do we have any more check-ins?
Yes. Whiskey 5, Golf, Uniform, Sierra, Gus, center of downtown Dallas, mobile. Whiskey 5, Golf, Uniform, Sierra, Gus,
Welcome, Gus. We recognize W5GUS. Well, thanks for checking in. All right, next up, if we have time, would be visible satellite passages over the next couple of days. KE5 ICX, do you want to do that or just table it?
I don't mind. I can go ahead and do that. I'll give the information on a few passes, KE5 ICX.
Very good. Go ahead.
I don't mind. I can go ahead and do that. I'll give the information on a few. Okay. All the information I get comes from Heavens Above, and there's a little hyphen between Heavens and Above.com. And you can go ahead and plug in your information as far as your longitude and latitude. And they give some really user-friendly ways of doing that now. It used to be you had to go and figure it out on your own. Now it has a hot link that allows you to get that information directly and plug it in, and you got it. So this is what I have for my location, the International Space Station. January 18th has a really good pass, minus 3.7 magnitude. That's very brilliant. 1906 local time. It reaches its highest point at 57 degrees at 1919 local time, and then it falls at 1909 at 50 degrees. Now, let's see. When you do that, you can go ahead and actually get a look at what that is, the pass itself. It goes into shadow, so it comes out of the southwest, goes through, what's this, Sculptor, breezes past Cetus, Arandus, passes Taurus, and then goes into shadow just as it reaches Gemini. So, yeah, but that happens a lot. You get that sort of thing because, well, that's what happens because we got celestial objects and physical pieces to that happen. January 21st, I'll go ahead and do that one. January 21st, minus 3.6 magnitude. 1818, so it's going to be in the evening at 6:18. Out of the southwest, reaches the highest point at 1822, 73 degrees, so that's a pretty high pass, and then falls at 1825. So let's go ahead, I'm doing this and measuring it. This is almost a complete pass. It brushes by Venus as it goes through Aquarius, brushes past Pisces, Andromeda, Cassiopeia, and then heads to the northeast and then falls into shadow. But it's a very, very good pass. So if you want to see the International Space Station, it is definitely worth the ticket to go outside and look at it. In fact, on even low passes, you'll see that it's pretty darn cool. I happen to I love the International Space Station passes, and I've been watching them for years and years. And in fact, when the shuttles went over, I did see one time a formation pass with the ISS, and then the shuttle Discovery were going over together. And there was a separation of about 10 degrees between the two of them as they brightly went over my neighborhood. There have been times, too, where I've actually gone to, when I was doing a lot of travel, and I go outside, and the smokers would be outside, smoking outside the hotel, and I tell them, watch this, and they thought I was crazy. There's the International Space Station going over wherever I was. And they actually thought that was pretty cool. They didn't know that sort of thing happened. So we all do because we're into that. Keep an eye to the sky. And back to net control. This is KE5ICX.
Okay, Tom, thank you. All right, I think we are out of time, so we'll call for any additional check-ins at this point. Okay, well, we had 18 check-ins, and we want to thank everyone who checked in. We hope you'll join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration. On this net, the sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net control stations for this and all other DARC nets. If you would like to try your hand at this, contact any of the net controls by sending an email to nets@w5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussion about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook and Twitter, as well as our audio and video streams, video archives, and other useful internet resources by going to w5fc.org at the conclusion of this net. Until next Saturday night, this is WV50ZL, Brenda. I'll be closing the net at 10:28 p.m. local time and returning the repeater to normal amateur use. 73, everybody, and enjoy the evening discovering the universe. So we're going to take a 5-minute break, go powder your nose, and then we're going to come back and do the Afterglow movie net. WV50ZL clear.
Completely operational, and all my circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow movie net.
ICX, Kilo Echo 5, India, Charlie X-Ray. My name's Tom. I will be your net control this evening. Poor Miss Brenda, she had to do everything this evening when it came to Skynet. It was her time in the barrel, but, well, we're cutting her a break. So she would normally be doing the Afterglow Movie Net, but I'll do the Afterglow Movie Net, and then she has to do another, well, 2 Afterglow Movie Nets sometime in the future. Maybe back to back. Who knows? We'll have to decide. So this is KE5ICX. I'll be net control for tonight's Afterglow Movie Net. Our movie is something different. Dr. X. I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of information about it, and if you didn't see the movie, that's okay. I think you'll want to see it. If you did see the movie, you're going to want to talk about it. So here we go. Dr. X is a 1932 American pre-code, 2-color, Technicolor horror mystery film produced jointly by First National and Warner Brothers, based on the play originally titled The Terror, that came out in New York on February 9, 1931, about Howard W. Comstock and Alan C. Miller. The movie was directed by Michael Curtiz. In case that name sounds familiar, he's the guy that did the movie I can't remember right now. I'll think of it in a minute. And it stars Lionel Atwill, Fay Ray, and Lee Tracy. Casablanca, that's the movie I was trying to think of. The film was produced before the motion picture production code was enforced. Themes such as murder, rape, cannibalism, and prostitution are interwoven into the story. No, it's not as great as you think it is. The film was one of the last films made along with Warner Bros. Near contemporary Mystery of Museum from 1933 in the early 2-color Technicolor process. Black and white prints were shipped to small towns and to foreign markets, while color prints were reserved for major cities. Okay, here's the plot. Reporter Lee Taylor, played by Lee Tracy, wow, not much of an imagination there, is investigating a series of pathological murders that have taken place over a series of months in New York City. The murders always take place at night under the light of a full moon, and each body has been cannibalized after the murder. I don't know what that means. Witnesses describe a horribly disfigured, monstrous killer. Dr. Xavier, not Patrick Stewart, but played by Lionel Atwill, is called in for his medical opinion, but the police have an ulterior motive in this. They wish to investigate Xavier's medical academy, as the scalpel used to cannibalize the bodies of the victims is exclusive to that institution. Aside from Xavier, the other suspects are Wells, an amputee who has made the study of cannibalism, Haynes, not the genius, who displays sexual perversion with voyeurism, Duke, a grouchy paralytic, and Rotwitz, these names are really hard, who is conducting a series of psychological effects of the moon. Now, there is a cameo of Colonel Mustard with a pipe in the study, but that didn't get into the movie. Police give Xavier 48 hours to apprehend the killer in his own way. During this time, Taylor investigates the doctor's intentions and in the process meets Joan Xavier, played by gorilla favorite Fay Ray, the doctor's daughter. Not the farmer's daughter, the doctor's daughter. Joan is exceedingly cold to Taylor, particularly after finding out that it was his story that pointed his finger at her father and ruined his first attempt attempt at locating the killer. Taylor, however, takes a romantic interest in Joan. Well, of course, say Ray. Just remember, I only got a couple of paragraphs left. At Xavier's beachside estate, all these suspects gathered in an unorthodox experiment. Each member, excluding Wells, wait a minute, something's in the way here, because it is known that the killer has two hands and he has but one. It is connected to an electrical system that records his heart rate. When a reenactment of the murder of the cleaning woman appears before them, the detector will expose the guilty man. Dr. Xavier's butler and maid, Otto and Amy, carry out the reenactment. During the experiment, a blackout occurs. When power is regained, it is discovered that Rowitz, whose monitors supposedly revealed him as the guilty party just before the blackout, has been murdered using a scalpel to the brain. Later that night, it is discovered that Rowitz's body has been, you guessed it, cannibalized. The following evening, Xavier asks Otto and Mamie to reenact another of the murders. Mamie is too frightened to play her part, so Joan takes her place. All the men, save for Wells, this time handcuffed to their seats. It is during this that we find out that it is in fact Wells who is the killer. Spoiler alert. After strangling Otto, I don't blame him, Wells reveals to his handcuffed guests, that's in quotes, that he has invented a synthetic flesh, also in quotes, composition, and has been creating artificial limbs and a horrific mask to carry out his crimes in order to collect living samples of human flesh for his experiment. Hence the SF horror part of this. You were wondering, this sounded like a detective thing. Then he declares his intention to collect Joan as his victim, not in quotes. As Wells is about to strangle Joan, Taylor, concealed among a series of wax figures representing the killer's victims, jumps Wells. After an extended fight, Taylor grabs a kerosene lamp and hurls it at Wells, setting him on fire. No surprise. Wells crashes through and falls in flames in Technicolor down a cliff to the Technicolor ocean shore. Reporting his story into the paper, Taylor tells his editor to make a space in the marriage section for Joan and himself. Cue the wonderful music and enjoy the two-strip Technicolor. And now we've come to the end of the explanation of the story. This is KE5ICX. I'm net control for tonight's Skynet. We are talking about Dr. X, which, by the way, was also mentioned in Rocky Horror Picture Show, so it has a special place in all of our hearts, and Rocky too. I will take check-ins now. If you'd like to join us this evening, please come now with your call sign, your name, where you're transmitting from, and did you see Dr. X? If you didn't, that's okay, because if you're a lover of film noir, this is one you got to see in color, Technicolor no less. So please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. Did you see Dr. X? Yes or no? Please come now. Film noir. This is one you got to see in color, Technicolor no less. So please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. Did you see Dr. X?
P. The silence is deafening. Yes, I did see the movie. And this is Mike and Richardson. Although I can't remember anything about it.
Alpha Golf 5, Papa Mike, Rich in Rockwall. I did not see the movie, but I hope to hear all about it. Alpha Golf 5, Papa Mike, Rich in Rockwall.
OZL, Brenda in DeSoto. Yes, I saw this movie. WB5OZL, Brenda in DeSoto. Yes, I saw this movie.
My goodness, what happened to everybody? Okay, let me get everybody checked in. I got KG5P, Mike over in Richardson. Yep, he saw the movie. I got AG5P on Rick over in Rockwall. You didn't see the movie, but we'll call on you anyway, just to see what your thoughts are on the thoughts. But welcome. We do this every Saturday night. A little light tonight, but I think we'll get other people in. Here's the secret. I'm going to tell you this. Everybody waits until the end on second and third check-ins because then they can listen to what everybody says. But I have not said yet exactly what order we're going to go through with check-ins because this is what happens. The brave ones start first, and then they have to explain everything. And then everyone else says, I agree with that, bye. And then they say red is yellow or something. I'll continue. WB5OZL, Miss Brenda in DeSoto, she saw the movie. Additional check-ins, please come now. Everyone else says, I agree with that, bye. And then they say red is yellow or something. I'll continue. WB5OZL, Miss Brenda in DeSoto, she saw the movie. Additional check-ins, please come now. No, I can't believe this. This is the latest check-ins. All right, I'm going to echo link, and then I'll come back to additional check-ins. Could be because of the Hamfest this weekend. Everybody's nighty-night. Okay, echo link. I'll give you extra time. Please come now with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. Did you see Dr. X? Could be because of the Hamfest this weekend. Everybody's nighty-night. Okay, echo link.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Bravo Zulu Whiskey, J near Weatherford, and yes, I did see the film.
For 5, Bravo, Zulu. Yes. Not only did I see it, I actually just BD.
All right, I scarcely collected. KG5BZWJ near Weatherford. By the way, Jay, it was good seeing you today. And N5BB Bill over in Irving. Yep, he saw it. I heard Bill at the Cowtown Hamfest, but you were busy counting things out. So I went on and talked to people who weren't counting things. But that's okay. I knew I was going to talk to you this evening. So, Bill, I got you checked in. All right, I'll go back. Any check-ins, anywhere, any way, shape, or form. Afterglow Movie Net, Dr. X from 1932. So please come now. Whether you saw it or not, it's okay. Check in. Don't be shy. These 5 people were not shy. You don't have to stay in the shadows. Technicolor shadows. Join us, even if you didn't see the movie. Please come with your call sign. Don't be shy. These 5 people were not shy. You don't have to stay in the shadows. Technicolor shadows. Join us, even if you didn't see the movie. Please come with your call sign. All right, we scared them all off this evening. It's probably the Hamfest that did it. Okay, Mike. Okay, here. Well, let me back up. Everybody sit down and think this one through. What we do is we talk about, I don't know, plot, and then we talk about characterization, and then we talk about special effects. We just do that because usually we have more check-ins. This one's more of a round table, but that's okay. I like that. KG5P, Mike, your comments on, I don't know, the plot. Go ahead for from KE5ICX.
KE5ICX, KG5P. Well, I'll tell you, Tom, I found more about this movie from your description that you read when you started this than when I watched it. I had no idea what was going on. You know, I picked up there was some cannibalism going on, and I don't know, something about the murder of the cleaning lady. I can tell you. There was like a number. I mentioned that it was like a Charlie Chan movie. We had Son, and we had Birmingham Brown. Yeah, really, I don't remember anything about it. It was pretty dismal. El Fay Ray in a bathing suit, which I guess was pretty hot stuff for back in those days. I don't know. It was. I enjoyed the chat window better than the movie, so I don't really have much to say. KG5P.
Oh man, this one was suggested by someone somewhere about this, and Mike, I got the calling eye in the rotation. Will be after tonight, but I do have the links and everything set up. Well. Oh, and what Mike's talking about is if you join the Afterglow Movie Facebook page, that's Afterglow, that's one word, and movie, the second word. We watch these movies on Friday night together, and we make comments along the way, sort of like MST3K. So if you like that, that would be great. If you would join us, and we'll put you in and we'll talk about the movie in real time. Let's see, Rich is listening in, AG5PM. I'm not going to make you say anything right now, but I'll come back to you later on, see what your thoughts are if you're still there. Next up, WE5OZL, Miss Brenda in DeSoto, your comments on this movie and the plot. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Tom. This is WB5OZL. Yeah, I had never seen this, and when I heard it was 1932, I thought, oh, this is going to be so lame. But I actually loved it. A little quirky. The ending was a little strange, but it held my attention. And I think it was a decent plot. There's some murdered people and who done it, and they're looking for clues and using these little lie detector apparatus to try and figure out who seems guilty. I thought that was kind of odd or unusual. Some of the characters are a little hard to take. The reporter was kind of a goofball, and his constant use of that novelty pen buzzer was really annoying. I had one of those when I was 8, but in an adult, that's just really kind of stupid. And he was just kind of a goober anyway. And how it is that he got the girl, I don't know. And he's already talking about marrying her, and all I've done is a little bit of flirting. And quite frankly, she's out of his league, if you don't mind my saying so. What else about the plot? To me, it's kind of refreshing to have a no-code movie, because the codes may protect us in some way, our little fragile little minds, but I think we've lost something. They're too predictable. And this kind of made it fresh, I think, to not know what was going to happen or what to expect. So, okay, I have more to say later. This is WB5OZL.
All right, thank you, Miss Brenda. And next up is Jay, KG5BZW near Weatherford. Hey, Jay, it was good seeing you today. I looked on the map and mentioned I couldn't find near Weatherford, so, and you couldn't either, so, in any case, it's good seeing you. Tell us about this film. You saw it. What did you think about the plot from KE5I6?
Well, good evening, everybody. KG5BGW. Yeah, the plot. It was, well, how to describe it? It was engaging. I did find I don't want to go too much into characters. Some aspects of it I thought I could have done without cover that more on characters, but they knew how to, whoever directed, which now that I know that rather famous guy directed a few famous movies, White Christmas wasn't it right? White Christmas? Well, anyway. Point is, they knew what they were doing. I think the characters themselves were interesting and just a little bit weird, but just enough interesting to keep my attention. The whole, part of obviously the plot turn at the end was kind of ridiculous, but it kind of unique twist on things. I didn't really mind it overall. I should have written some more notes on this because I would say this is not a bad film, which is nice. Nice to go to participate in this net and have something we should be able to comment on. Yeah, okay, I have to say this. The reporter guy, yeah, I was really annoyed with the comedic effects they added the slapstick for him. This slapstick just got on my nerves. Him being a klutz and everything, always being a klutz, like he has no common sense or whatever on some of this stuff. But and of course the weird love interest, like, oh, we're friends now. We're very much friends, and yeah, that was weird. But some of that can be, I don't know, forgiven, I guess. Maybe not strictly forgiven, but I don't know, I can get over it. I don't know if I have anything else to say. I'm trying to think of a film that. Oh, I'm about to time out. Hold on. Okay. I'm trying to think of another film like this. Seems like I've seen it. It's kind of a trope. It obviously Clue and whatnot derived from some common theme probably prior to this film, but I don't know. The terror / sci-fi element of it was kind of nice to see. I don't know. Sorry. I think I'm rambling too much to really be saying anything that anybody wants to hear. So I'll hand it back to net control. KG5BZW.
Thank you, and just to remind everybody who may be listening, we were talking about the 1932 movie Dr. X in two-tone Technicolor, 1932. They were busy perfecting the process in kind of a gumshoe film noir in color, no less, which is pretty cool, with a science fiction element to it, which is why we watched it. Let's see, next up is Bill, N5BB. He says he saw it in Irving, or he saw it somewhere. Maybe you saw it in 1932, maybe you did not. Bill, what did you think about the plot from KE5ICX?
Thank you, Tom. This is Inside BB. Yes, I did see the movie tonight. I'm the one that suggested this movie. A couple weeks ago, I was looking at something else, totally different. I can't remember what actually got me into looking at this, but I read about the early Technicolor, two-color, not three, only two-color, two-strip process. And I learned that the Dr. X was the second Hollywood film which used this process. And the first one used a grainier version of it. It wasn't near as good quality. But this one used one which was pretty good quality. You can see this. This was a restored film, but it was really pretty good quality if you look at it from 1932. Now you got to realize that talkies had only come into Hollywood in the late 20s, the middle to late 20s. So this movie was made only a few years after they started having sound in movies. And I think the sound was pretty good quality in this one. And they finally had color. There's only one or two more movies that were made with this process. It was not the much better three-color Technicolor that we know from later movies, but it was kind of expensive. So this is kind of a little bubble of early color in the map of the movie. Now, involving the plot, I agree with Brenda. I actually kind of like this movie. And I didn't really read this. I didn't see the whole movie until tonight. So I recommended looking at it before I had seen it. And I'd only heard that it was kind of a zany comedy, horror, murder mystery, science fiction, which I thought was kind of an interesting combination. And it did have its comedy aspects, a zany comedy. And I agree that the newspaper reporter was very annoying, but that was the character. And there were other characters in other movies back along the same time, back in the 30s. It was a common thing for newspaper reporters to be pretty zany. As I remember, there were some other major movies made later, major Hollywood actors and actresses that involved, newspaper reporters that were just pretty zany. I thought that putting the buzzer in the hand was kind of an interesting plot thing. They kept using it multiple times through the movie. So that was not an afterthought. They must have written the original writers and screenwriters must have kept that in there actual plot, of course it was corny and crazy, but it was actually less corny and crazy than a lot of other movies we've seen. It's actually, from my point of view, much more straightforward than a lot of the, Dracula, Frankenstein, evil scientist movies. This one was a whole bunch of off-the-rocker scientists, but they weren't, only one of them was really evil. All the rest of them were just off-the-rocker, kind of weird. So, I like it for zany. I'll check that box. It's on DB.
Thank you, Bill. I don't disagree with any of those comments. I thought it really had a lot of interesting twists and turns, and the plot itself actually really worked in kind of a weird way. I'm going to reserve comments beyond that right now because, quite honestly, I like the movie, but I'll take additional check-ins. Anybody who would like to join us this evening, we are talking about Dr. X from 1932. This is a very early, one of the earliest Technicolor 2-color horror mystery films that came out then, and it actually has an interesting story and well directed with Michael Curtiz and Fay Wray. People you should recognize from your film history when you took filmography class, whatever that is. In any case, I'll take additional check-ins now. If you want to join us, please come down with your call sign name. Did you see Dr. X? And you can still check in if you didn't. Please come now.
Number 5, India, Mike Sierra, JJ in Carrollton. No, I did not see this fine film, at least in my memory. I may have seen it way in the past, but not in my memory. And I'll basically just be monitoring. I'm still working on my computer upgrade. And if I sound out of breath, I just carried my machine up the stairs quickly to keep the dog from going up through the gate. This is N5 IMS.
Okie dokie. Anyone else? Please come now. Okie dokie. Anyone else? Please come. Jeez, it feels like a night of the monsters on Maple Street. And don't forget, the guy who is the amateur radio operator, they tried to gang up on him. So, where is that radio set you have? They said. Well, okay. Let me say this. First off, somebody in our group recommended this movie, and I put it in the queue, and I thought, well, all right, let's see what happens. I actually enjoyed the movie. I really did. It was a bit over the top, but those movies were back then. Michael Curtiz, Mr. Casablanca, and many other classic films were showing his stuff then in this film, and visually it was interesting. The various sets were fantastic. I thought it was really great. This three-dimensional look to everything really worked extremely well. This story has been done, I don't know, many times in stuff that came afterwards, maybe before, but it was really brought to bear. The whole witness thing and the reenactment of stuff. This has been done in movies and in methods and means is very similar to this film. Now, to be honest with you, I'd never seen this film until last night when I watched it, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the 30s flair. sensibility to it. I love the film noir, which is one of the things that was coming out of all of this. Warner Brothers was very big on that. And bringing in Michael Curtiz as a very young guy doing this film, it all came together for me. I thought it was really great. Let me reset. Now, there's a science fiction element to this. Can you regenerate tissue, and why, and how, and all of that. I thought that this really kind of, it was crudely done to a certain extent, but I thought it was effective enough and forward enough for a film from that time to provide really an interesting storyline. Certainly, all of this happened in Frankenstein, which came out about the same time, and this is a gumshoe whodunit extrapolation of that, but as I think Bill mentioned, it's done in a thoughtful way. They do it with the intent of trying, at least, to create an aura of credibility that, Frankenstein doesn't have. It's sort of all over the universe. It's tremendously fun, but in this film, I thought that this thing was methodically done in a very interesting way. I thought also the way it's staged, the visuals with it were fantastic. Maybe bombastic for that time, but when you were doing movies, you wanted to totally entertain. This film did that. Also, there's no barriers, and this was one of the things that was brought up earlier, and that is that before you created all of these filters, these movie things that you can and cannot do, this is supposed to be something for the audience, something that they can say, well, you know what, here you go. This film is fenced out in a certain way, and you can go and watch the film and enjoy it without having anything being shifted in your mind. To me, I love going to see films where there's no holds barred, where you can go ahead and create this wonderful world or this horrible world or whatever, and you stand by it. I've seen films that go over the top, and I go, I didn't like that. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't make them. I think what it means is that you can be creative, and there's a whole register going from A to Z, and it may inspire you to do an M or an L or something, and the Z is just totally unacceptable in your mind. But it allows you to kind of look at film in its extraordinarily extrapolative way. That's what I love about movies like this. Unacceptable in your mind, but it allows you to kind of explore new levels. In this case, some of it's technical, but some of it also is about the storyline. Sure, it may be ridiculous. It may be awkward, or it could be really fascinating. I look at film like this, and I see things like with French Impressionistic art and Cubism and all of that, which are things that I find fascinating. I'm not sure why. Maybe for the same reason I like this film, which is that you explore, you experiment, you try things, and you're going to go against the grain of conventionality. What you want to do, I think, is to create something, particularly in film, because you can do anything you want, really, on film, and explore the periphery. You do something different than what's been done before. And if it doesn't offend or it doesn't evoke an emotion, what good is it? And I think Dr. X actually did that. Is it the best film ever? No. Is it the worst film ever? Absolutely not. I think that it really provides kind of an impetus and a projection going forward in a lot of ways to what comes afterwards. You look at things like what Stanley Kubrick does. He did these films, some of them boring, some of them fascinating, some of them revolting in many different ways, but he expanded the envelope beyond just the normal mundane crap that you sometimes see. These are the things that I love in movies, and one of the things I love about this net is that you can talk about things that are good and the bad and the ugly with every film. In this case, this is a movie I'd never seen before. I'll watch it again, and I'll probably watch it again and again, and I'll pull more things out of it. Visually, it was great. Hey, it's Michael Curtiz, for darn's sake. You can't not love the guy with a color movie. Maybe it's only one. I don't know. Okay, I'm moseying over, I think, a film that I discovered that I really like, and I will go back and watch. This is KE5ICX. I will take additional check-ins. People are wandering in, so you better show up. Please come now with your call sign, name, location. Did you see Dr. X from 1932? Please come now.
13IMV. Yes. Yes, I saw it. I really don't remember a whole lot of details or things about it, and I'm really tired at the moment.
Cab 5, CRA. Driving home after just seeing 1917, but I didn't see the film y'all are talking about. I'm just monitoring Cab 5, CRA.
The sleepy bunch in. I got WT9V. Michael, he saw the film, but he's really, really tired. Well, I'm still going to ask you. And I got KF5Z. Let's see, Zulu Romeo Hotel. I think that's a new one for me. Can I get your name, please? And please correct me on the call if I got it wrong. Alright, you ran away, but that's okay. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate that you're there. WT9V. Michael, I'll let you do your first and last comments. You don't remember much about it, but what do you remember? I don't know. Just tell us about your day. Geez, you don't remember anything about the movie.
I didn't get much sleep, and the day started really early, but the only note that I actually took was, it's a mystery and a comedy. Not sure what they would call that, but it was fun. I liked it. I thought, there was I don't know, maybe a little bit too much silly comic relief, but on the other hand, I don't know. The joy buzzer thing just kept going on and on and on. I really liked the laboratory towards the end, and all the way the set design was nice. I liked that. And I don't know, the first I did think it's the guy with at first I thought the guy with the missing hand was faking that he had a fake hand, so that he could get past the cops, and then he wasn't. But I didn't expect it to turn out the way it did. So the plot was interesting. It had some twists and turns that I wasn't expecting. I think it was a bit corny that the goofy reporter got the girl, but it wasn't a bad movie. I kind of liked it. 1790.
All right, Michael. Good. That's okay. It's kind of a middle of the road thing, but as I said, I agree with you with the film. I thought it was pretty cool. Okay, let's go to the top of the list now. Here, we'll talk about characterization. We have relatively, well, I don't know. I guess it's evened out as far as the thing. I'll go ahead and ask any comments you want to bring, and maybe that will bring additional comments on the next round. We'll talk about characterization, but if you got anything you want to add on anything, that's fine. And then I think that might generate another round. KG5P, Mike, characterization, anything you want to talk about? Go ahead, from KE5ICX. I think we lost him. He may be powdering his nose. I'll put a question mark and come back to him. 85 p.m. That's Rich over in Rockwall. If you're still there, I know you didn't see the movie, but if you've got any comments you want to bring, film noir, horror, science fiction, anything you want, please make your comments. 85 p.m. from KE5ICX.
Well, Tom, I've been enjoying the conversation. I'll have to watch this movie. I was looking at my own library, and I have the amazing Mr. X from 1948, which I don't think I've actually watched. It was one of those, I think you buy a box of like 8 CDs or DVDs, and it was on there. So I was hoping I had Mr. X, but I don't. I'll have to check that out. One comment. Your signal is super strong, coming in gangbusters, but this is weird static on your signal and everybody else's, and I'm wondering if I'm the only one hearing it or not. 85 p.m.
1790.
Michael, go ahead.
So I'm hearing a lot of static from you, Tom, and I missed the call sign of the guy that was just on. He was perfectly clear where I'm picking them up here in Plano. So, for what it's worth, 1790.
All right, well, let me explain what's going on. I've not been outside, but I suspect the winds are up, and what's happening is on the repeater site is there's wind, and they're moving the antennas around. There's been a lot of discussion about what causes that as far as the distortion that you hear from wind, but I will tell you there are a boatload of antennas on top of the building that hosts the DARC 88 repeater, and when there's a lot of movement, that's where we get the static, and I suspect that's what it is, because that's what it sounds like. The closer you get to the repeater, the closer you are to the repeater, the less that happens, because I guess the signal is stronger and stronger, and it's on the input side of the repeater, and that's the problem. So we get this during heavy, heavy wind, and I guarantee you if I go outside, there's wind everywhere, and that's why you're getting that sound. Now, Bill and others, N5BB, he has an explanation explanation for it. I don't disagree with him. I just know that the wind is what's causing the problem. And Rich, thank you for your comments. Thanks for the feedback. We'll come back to you later if you're still there. Hopefully you get a chance. You had a comment about there was a sequel to this movie, so I'm curious to see it as well. I enjoyed this particular film. Sequels are always far less, usually, unless it's The Empire Strikes Back, in which case it was pretty darn good. But most sequels do not live up to the original. So let us know. Report in on that. I think that would be really interesting. Next up, WE5 Ozell. Miss Brendan DeSoto, your comments on characterization. I know you do. Please go ahead from KE5ICX. I'm going to put a question mark after your name because you had to do the previous net and you probably run off to do something. KG5BZWJ, near Weatherford, one of my favorite cities. Your comments on characterization. Please go ahead. KE5ICX.
KG5BZW. Characterization. Well, what else to say? You got the commissioner, you got the doctors, you got the reporter, you got the I forget the name of the type of character. Fay Ray would be just sex interest, whatever. There's I would call them fairly stereotypical in a way, and I mean maybe not. Because some of the doctors they just they were, it might have been stereotypes, but they were just odd stereotypes. I don't know that you really had the much character growth. People seem to play their parts. Otto played to be. I have to admit, Otto. I got to thinking Otto looked really suspicious, and so I took the bait. I took the bait about Otto. Of course, each of the doctors did have their own little cues that they might be, the one. So I thought that was well done. I think I did kind of suspect Dr. Wells, wasn't it? From the beginning, and I don't know it, but I'm almost wondering if you're supposed to suspect that from the beginning as well, because I like the way they positioned the suspicions or drew the suspicion upon each one, and I thought that was pretty well done. The police commissioner Robert Warwick, love his voice. Not sure if he's been in some like radio series or whatnot. Something very familiar about his voice. I wish I had more to say about him, but or maybe I wouldn't be surprised. I've got there's a song, I think a few songs from like early 2000s. I think maybe one of them they used one of his movies as part of Whack Taylor, if you've ever heard the artist, but it seems like something he said in some movies not. Oh man, of course I'm gonna have time out again. Hold on. Okay. G5BZW. I don't know that I have much else to say. Character's pretty static, but interesting nonetheless. My take, and I think I'm just gonna stick with that. Just back to net. KG5BZW.
Thank you, Jay. And this is KE5ICX, and net control for the Afterglow Movie Network, talking about Dr. X from 1932, one of the very early color films directed by Michael Curtiz with Lionel Atwell, Fay Ray, that Fay Ray on top of the Empire State Building, and Lee Tracy. Okay, Miss Brenda has checked back in, WB50ZL. Brenda, your comments on characterization, you better make it good. KE5ICX, to you.
What? This is WB50ZL. Sorry, I ran off for a second. I didn't realize it's my turn. So I had to take a tiny break, and now I'm back. Well, I can't... Sorry. To some extent, the characters were a bit cliched. The story's a bit cliched. You got the beautiful girl who's the daughter of, scientist or the doctor or whoever. This is just pretty much formula. I don't remember what she did, if anything. Woke up late and had breakfast and went to the beach, but that's alive. So I don't know. A lot of these, the beautiful daughter is the assistant of the scientist, but I didn't get that sense. The maid was a little ditzy, kind of cute, but kind of funny. The reporter was a little quirky, but kind of likable, and they made him a little bit dingy and a little eccentric, but he was sort of an everyman kind of a character. And then you had various other people. I was reading about this online, and they said that every one of the doctor's assistants had some kind of like a criminal history, ranging from cannibalism to, I don't remember what, some other minor crime. I thought, well, that is really odd for them, people like that, to be taken on as a scientist, doctor's assistant. So, they were all suspect. They were all weird. And the characterization I thought was pretty standard or formulaic, I think. But most of them were very likable. And of course you had the Erst between the reporter and the girl, enough flirting and the back and forth, which of course got resolved in the end. And I think the thing about this movie that strikes me most is that it was memorable. It was different from any other movie I've ever seen. And I'm not going to forget this one for a long time. It just reaches out and grabs you and strikes your imagination. And I think that's one of the strong points of it. Was it a great, fantastic movie, the best movie ever made? No. But it was memorable, and I like that. So I might even want to watch it again. All right, back to net. WB5OZL.
Okay, Miss Brenda. Very good comments, and I'll watch it again too. Let's see. Characterization next up is Jamie is comments and 5BB. Mr. Bill, your comments on characterization. Stay awake. Maybe you checked out. I'm not sure. If you're there, N5BB, go ahead.
N5BB, no. I've been eating, drinking things with caffeine, so I'm still going. I actually took a nap at the end of Skynet, right before Afterglow got really started. I got my second wind up. Let's put it that way, Tom. Now, characterization. Think about some of the really cheesy movies from 30 to 35 years later. The 6 that we've seen. Some of these movies were really flat. I mean, the characters were just really flat. You didn't care about them. I actually cared a little bit about some of these characters. And I wondered about them. So, for instance, Dr. X, Dr. Xavier, what exactly was he doing with this research institute? He seemed to be, he wasn't exactly an evil doctor. He was just a weird researcher. And, you got to remember, this is back in the early 30s. And this is back when, electricity was starting to be used to measure things like, electrocardiograms, and they were starting to determine lie detectors and skin reading electricity. So there was a natural kind of bother to be strapping some things to these people's wrists and doing it. Now, what I found strange, and this is a little bit like the 009 and other movies where they strap the hero in the chair and say, before we kill you, we're going to talk to you and show you all these things and give you a chance to escape. We're going to give you a chance to escape. They willingly, these researchers, sat in these chairs. They were locked in the chairs. There was a key on the floor. They were locked in there, and they had their wrist connected to some weird electro-fluid machine, and it was measuring some kind of psychological response. And if the response got too high, this blood-looking red fluid would go up in these tubes. And, but it wasn't as corny as many of the other things. I think the director actually did a pretty serious sentence. He wasn't laughing at the viewer. He was doing it rather serious, As opposed to some of the other movies where they kind of throw it at the viewer and laugh at the viewer, and they say, we don't care about you, viewer, we're just going to throw you this schlock. No, he was pretty serious about it. They were really doing it. But I don't understand why they were sitting there locked in their chairs. One thing about this movie was made from a play. So originally this was a stage play. That's my understanding. The name, I forget what it was. And the thing about this produced as a play. There's some things in the movie that were odd, like they had these wax figurines that represented this would have been much for a play back in the 20s, early 30s. This would have been a pretty neat, nifty thing to do on the stage, to have these kind of apparently like Ripley's Believe It or Not wax, or Madame Tussauds wax characters. That was kind of a new thing also that was represented in some other horror movies, having these kind of wax figurines of people. So I think it was taking a little bit of that popular culture and putting it into there. And it would have been much more effective, I think, pretty effective on a stage play, and they just moved that to the movie. One thing I found interesting about the whole thing was it started off at the morgue, and there were some things about it which were pretty weird. The reporter was laying on a cadaver bed covered up. And he evidently was under the influence, I guess, of some of the chemicals, because when he woke up, he was really good for a while. But, so this whole thing about being a movie, and they just did some pretty wild things. They had a guy, think about this, they had a guy laying on a cadaver bed in a morgue. That's pretty weird. So what does he do? When he's trying to do some research, he goes over to the cat house next door, knocks on the door, gives a knock, they let in. What's going on in the cat house? There's a guy playing the piano. He's sitting there playing some tune, and then he talks to Madame, and kind of joking around with her, and at some point she says, haven't I seen you in Havana? And he does a double take. Kind of an interesting little thing. And then when he leaves, by the way, the piano player was kind of crunched down, kind of weirdly. So I'm wondering if that was somebody like the producer or the director kind of trying to hide the face. And as he was leaving, he said to the piano player, he said something to the piano player. I lost what he said. But he said something about changing what he was playing. The piano player switched to playing this very melodramatic music. I think that was neat. It showed a flair for direction, and it showed a kind of a freshness to me. Totally different from those people in the science fiction movies and the canned movies with the insects, all the other goofy stuff, the Roger Corman movies. This director was no Roger Corman. He was much better and much more interesting kind of director. Also, the movies from that era, when they seen in a house or place, ceilings were about 20 feet high. You notice everything looks like it was built in some incredibly high-ceiling mansion, which gives it this kind of exotic look. Another interesting thing I saw was Dr. Xavier and his city research institute. But then he had his house in the country with his additional research things with big impressive machines. That's pretty. So I started to think, where did they get this money? Where was all this money came from? And something I thought about through all this was, where's Mrs. Xavier? What's going on with her? Is she still alive? Is she around? Her daughter is a reasonably strong-willed woman that she's so goofball. It's not exactly a scientist, but she doesn't really seem to be so goofball. She's a pretty, reasonable person. Where's her mom? She's very close to her dad, but where's her mom at all? So there's a lot of things about the characters I was thinking about and kind of caring about that I would never think about in some of those movies from decades later. I'm talking too much, Tom. It's not BP. Thank you. That I would never think about in some of those
it's okay. That's the whole point of talking about these movies and the fact that we pick these weird things out of the air. And you can fall in love with a movie. It's okay. I actually fell in love with this movie, and I will watch it with more intense interest going forward, because why not? That's the thing that really makes motion pictures fun. And boy, what is it? Who is it? Teddy Sturgeon, one of the science fiction writers, is long since gone now, but he said 90% of everything is crap. I say 99% of everything is crap. And those few films that really resonate with you, they do so for a reason. And this is one of those that resonated with you. It resonates with me. I'm cool with that. Let's see. Next up, WT9 Victor. That would be Michael. If you're still there, and I think he's there, maybe, your comments on anything you want to talk about. We're at a point where we're talking about characterization, but actually, believe it or not, this particular net and conversation's gone longer than I thought on this film. Anything you want to say about this movie, go ahead, from KE5ICX. Actually, believe it or not, this particular net...
I want a spiral staircase in my laboratory.
Anything you want to say about this movie, go ahead.
I want a laboratory, but if I have a laboratory, I want a spiral staircase. Where did these staircases go? I want to know these things. Nobody told me these things. I mean, do all of the labs have, like, an upstairs floor? Is that where the people sleep? I don't get it. I don't get a lot of things in this movie, but that's okay. I don't remember a lot of it. Thoughts about everything. So, yeah, the creature creation scene toward the end was kind of weird. I don't know. I'm stuck on the spiral staircases. I may come up with something else. Let somebody else have a turn. WT9V.
Okie dokie. Well, that leaves me, I guess. KF5ZRH. Oh, well, let me try. KF5ZRH, are you still out there? Got any comments? Of anything. It's okay. Please come now. Thanks for checking in. If you're out there. KF5ZRH from KE5ICX. N5IMS, you have some comments I see over on Echolink here. Please go ahead. JJ over in Carrollton, please make your comments from KE5ICX.
Well, now that I've at least somewhat recovered from bringing that machine quickly up the stairs to keep the dog downstairs where he belongs. We don't want a dog-cat fight, but I can actually get in there. Well, I've been listening to a lot of what we had. Now, admittedly, I missed some of it, but I'm kind of disappointed. The one movie I didn't get a chance to watch is probably one that I might have really enjoyed, and so I'm going to have to watch this one. So you may have a convert here, going to enjoy it, but it sounds like a reasonably decent film, and from the 30s, you can't expect a lot of special effects and things. I mean, technology wasn't good, so I won't have too much hopes on some of that. But they still had some decent techniques with film, double shooting, etc., and things like that. So they could have some good effects. So I'm looking forward to some of that. But just seems to be something I, might enjoy watching. Oh, and by the way, apparently my upgrade appears to work. I still have a lot of work to do getting it to use on it, but the transplant of the hard disk seemed to work. So, maybe carrying it up the stairs was good. It's better than the server falling on my head when I was attempting to do it up here so I could hear better. Back to the net, the Sen 5 IMS.
Hi, JJ. Yeah, I think you missed the film you want to see, and I will go back and watch this film. I think I've become a fan, and I don't know why. I know why. No bars, no filter, no. You gotta follow these rules. Of course, it was a Warner Brothers and a combo thing going on. And I'm sure there were negotiations through the whole thing, but I enjoyed the film a lot. One of the things that I will say is that films today, there's a lot of experimentation going on. There's a lot of opportunity to create films that there are no holds barred. And YouTube allows you to go ahead and put those things up. Now, they have their filters, everybody does. They have their restrictions, but in the end, you can see enough interesting stuff online. And, by the way, some of the things that comes out of this is that there are people that will go ahead and support it. Stuff that you, as an individual, can do. And you have people who will pay for it. Doesn't have to necessarily make any money in the general public. And I think that we're returning to this pre-code world that we had in 1932, where you could watch a film like this and enjoy the heck out of it, but at the same time, you can do the same thing today. And that also creates a pull for general media, general films who see a potential in an audience there, and then they go ahead and reluctantly and then buoyantly go forward and say, that's a good idea. Glad we thought of it, when they didn't, but they'll say they did. My thoughts on this film, as it kind of resonates, and one of the things that I find really fun about motion pictures is sometimes you walk in with an expectation and you walk away with something completely different. This movie had that feeling about it. There's a lot of elements that have shown up in films, television, and everything after that. The reenactments, the Frankenstein thing, which was going on at the time, that was very popular. The actors speaking almost in a contemporaneous way. The scenes with looking down with the projected, objects, and which was really popular with the film noir. The absolute crazy axiomatic stuff going on with the characters, sometimes ridiculousness, but at the same time creating this kind of like weird, what's going on here and what's next happening. It's all going on. Curtiz was able to kind of pull this whole thing around in this, I think, this imagination process that was going through his head. I mean, come on. The guy came up with one of the most memorable movies ever made, Casablanca, and he's stretching his legs in this film. doggone it. Imagine what he could have done with Casablanca if he would have gone crazy with it. Probably wouldn't have registered on the scale. Stretching his legs in this film. Doggone it. Imagine what he could have done with Casablanca. Motion pictures do something that no other medium can do. It takes you and projects you anywhere, any place, any time. What drives me nuts about movies today is that they stay in their lane. They don't expand. They don't do things that are uncomfortable or fascinating or different. They stay within this realm and they don't expand. This movie expanded. The original Star Wars expanded. It took us places that we never imagined we could go. This last Star Wars movie, as an example, just said, we're just going to go overboard with everything that you love. They stayed inside their lanes. And while it was entertaining, it wasn't unexpected. There wasn't anything that particularly made me go, gasp, or do anything. And the original Star Wars did. It was imaginative. It had great music. It had characterization was kind of questionable, but the idea was that we're going someplace you've never been before, and we're doing it at warp speed, which they literally did. This movie attempted to do that. It expanded the gumshoe. It expanded the courtroom drama. It did things in ways that you didn't expect. There was plenty of areas that went beyond that with the topics and tying everybody up and everything. Well, I do that in film. Make it exciting. Make it different. Make it something that people would go, wow. You know, one of the things with King Kong, Fay Ray was in that, is that they were gasping and going, whoa, wow, what's going on that scene? With, and being, Fay Ray being precariously dangled above the Empire State Building with King Kong. I mean, people were fainting in the aisles. Why not? Why not do those things with film? It's one of the reasons I love film is give me the unexpected. Give me something different. Give me something I've not seen before. And then what happens is the film stands up. You'll find lots of imitators, people and groups and companies and organizations that go and take it to the nth degree, and then they make it terrible. But it's okay, because the next big thing will come along. This is KE5ICX. Another comment, and then I'll take final check-ins and anybody else's final comments. The Western is one of those things that has been visited so many times. And how long did that really last? What, in reality, 50 years maybe? When we expanded out west here in the Manifest Destiny. But the movies keep reinventing. They keep doing things. The Italian westerns, the humanistic stories, like the final John Wayne movie, something uncharacteristic for him. The realistic look, that's Peckinpah stuff. Taking films and expanding them to beyond what you are normally expected to see, or what you're expecting to see, really works. And that's what I love about motion pictures, is that they can do that. A lot of times there are those films, some films are these major releases. In any case, they all end up allowing an opportunity if they will do it. And somebody has the balls to do it. That's just me. Okay, I'll take final check-ins and any additional comments. Please come now with your call signs.
Alpha Golf 5, Papa Mike.
BB.
Of IMS.
Okay, I got 3. EG5PM, N5BB, N5IMS. Anyone else? All right, let's go to the top. AG5PM, Rich, over in Rockwell. Go ahead. Your comments. Please come now.
Hey, Tom, how do I know what movie to watch in preparation for the next net?
Well, Rich, there's 2 ways to do it. You can go ahead and sign up over on Facebook. If you have a Facebook account, you can go to Afterglow Movie. That's 2 words, Afterglow Movie, and just sign up. Or you can send me an email at Kilo Echo 5 India Charlie X-Ray KE5ICX@yahoo.com and say you want to join the Afterglow Movie thing, and I will send you the movie info and the link. Typically what we do is we pick public domain movies, nearly always, 99% of the time. If it's not a movie that's on the link, then it's something we're going to go see. So that's it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. I deleted my Facebook account after 30 days. I won't comment on why, but I won't use Facebook, but I will send you an email and request that information. Thank you. AG5PM clear.
Hey, Rich, and that's no problem. There's a lot of people that feel the same way that you do. So no harm, no foul. Just send me an email and I will put you on the list. Next stop, N5BB. Mr. Bill, your comments. Go ahead.
Yes, there was actually a light touch and a little bit of comedy. So when they're at the beach there and the goofball reporter says, well, I'm a little bit, I don't know if I want to go out in the water. I had a bad experience as a kid or something. And then he says something like, hey, if I was out there in trouble, would you come rescue me or something like that? And the woman says, oh, what I'd do is throw you an anvil. Really neat kind of put down. And then the Dr. X took them all up to his machine that's going to measure their mental state. He goes into this long paragraph, and this must have been done intentionally. And he says, we're hooking up this 100 kilohertz coil with these fluid columns of this. It goes into this technical description. It's like, 45 seconds. Fault is, it's like I think it's known as the comedic kind of effect, kind of a thing. I think I had fun with that. And there was a comment about special effects. They don't need any real special effects. There were some really neat cinematography. Jacob's ladder at one point. There were all these electrical switches. The power got cut off at one point. There were, like I said, these people are strapped to chairs, connected up to this apparatus with the whatever kilohertz or whatever oscillation is a fluid thing. And, you know, that was plenty of special effects for this. That's all. A little bit of kind of dark ambiance for the morgue. Good evening, Inside DD. See you next week.
All right, thank you, Bill, and I absolutely agree with everything you said, wholeheartedly. Thanks for checking in this evening. Next up, N5IMS, JJ over in Carrollton, your final comments. Go ahead, from KE5ICX.
This is a comment on your comments, basically about like the westerns and stuff, and having something that is very well done, very well filmed, but still very shocking. I still vividly remember the scene in Stagecoach where, you know, the cowboy gets hit in the head from the axe from the Indian, and have, you know, basically how that was done. You know, it just something totally unexpected. They didn't really do that. I mean, when you had, you know, somebody shot or injured in the movies of those days, you know, you basically had like an arrow come in that you could almost see, you know, was being held up underneath their arm, and then had little, you know, red oozing out from their body and things like that. But this was a, you know, a vivid scene, you know, of the axe hitting the man in the head, and, you know, just very graphic, you know, but very well done. And it, you know, it wasn't just, you know, we'll do this, but it really fit in the scene. I mean, it was, you know, a battle, so something like that would have happened. But I still vividly remember that shot in that movie. Now, a lot of the rest of the film I probably couldn't do too much about, but I still remember that shot. So you do something unexpected and something right, and that fits in, and it will be memorable. This N5IMS.
Very good. Well, thank you, JJ. And, well, your comment is on my comment, but mentioning motion pictures and westerns, which are particularly ripe for this sort of thing, is the ability, like you said, to shock, but to also create a world that didn't exist exactly that way, or doesn't exist, I should say, doesn't exist today. And the John Ford Stagecoach is a marvelous example of that. One of my favorite movies, and has an authenticity to it that wouldn't be revisited for another 50, 60 years. And somehow that movie is just incredibly bright, the way it's done and the way it's filmed and everything else. Well, I can emote forever. All right, this is KE5ICX. Do I have any additional check-ins or comments? Please come now. Stand by. I'm looking for next week's movie. Somehow or another, I deleted our picture, which really makes me angry. Let's see here. I have to look because I can't find the picture now. I'll tell you what. Go look online, and I will go ahead and tell you what the next movie is. It's something from 2017. I just can't find the thing. And Mike, I've got The Crawling Eye on the list, and I will put it up. I may even, you know what? I'll make it next week's movie. The Crawling Eye will be our next movie from, what, 1950 something? 56 maybe? Crawling Eye will be our next movie. We're going back to science fiction in its most primordial form. So this is KE5ICE. Yes, I'm going to close it down. Hey, thanks everybody. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back here at 10:30 p.m. next Saturday night. 7-3, everybody. Have a good evening. This is KE5ICX. I'm clear. The net is closed. Have a nice evening. Morning. Morning. It's morning now. KE5ICX clear. 7-3, everybody. Have a good evening. This is KE5ICX.
Tom, earlier talked about is the Trollenberg Pier, also known as the Crawling Eye in the United States. It's a 1958 British black and white sci-fi inside BB.
Hi, Bill. I got it. 1958. By the way, your signal is fading more and more and more. You must be on a handy-talkie or underneath your bed with your best 2-meter rig. But in either case, I'm losing you quickly. But thanks. 1958. The Crawling Eye. Next week. Thanks. KE5ICX.
Hey, listen, Tom. Nope. Well, not sure why. I have not moved the antenna. The radio hasn't changed. Oh, well. I probably need to go out and try rerunning the antenna a little bit. See if I can get a couple more dB signal. Inside BB clear. Thanks for letting me know.
BB Alpha Golf 5 Papa Mike, I want to second that comment. You normally come in full quieting, but you have been a very weak signal and a lot of static today, 85 p.m.
Hey, Rich, thanks for letting me know. I haven't changed anything, so I'll have to go out and see if I can move the antenna a little bit. The signal's extremely strong, so I don't think it's a transmitter problem. Seems like it's putting out a lot of power. Okay, talk to you later. Inside BB clear. Thanks for letting me know.
I wants to know why there's only one crawling eye. I personally want to know how it crawls, because they usually don't have arms or legs. WT9V.
Hey, the worms don't have arms and legs.
They're also not spherical.
What kind of tentacle things that it crawls with? And it's definitely a human eye. WB50ZL.
I can't remember if I've seen this movie. I'll have to look at it. Inside BB clear.